close your eyes for a second. Seriously, just for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go back to that very specific feeling. You know the one. It's the beginning, the spark. You meet someone new, and suddenly it feels like the resolution of the world just got bumped up to 4K.
The colors are brighter.
The colors are brighter. The air literally smells sweeter. It's that intoxicating rush where every notification on your phone gives you this physical hit of dopamine because you just know it's them.
It is a powerful drug.
Yeah.
And I don't use that word lightly. Neurochemically, that initial phase of, intense attraction is almost indistinguishable from addiction.
Yeah.
It is the high of pure potential.
Exactly. It's the potential. You aren't just looking at a person sitting across from you at a coffee shop. You're
Yeah.
watching this mental movie montage of your future.
Right. Road trips, lazy Sunday mornings.
Finally feeling understood. It is beautiful. And honestly, it's probably one of the best feelings in the human experience.
Yeah.
And you knew there was a massive but coming.
There is always a but when we're analyzing human behavior.
That same high, that same golden hazy filter that makes everything look so magical. It acts like a blindfold. It's the rose-colored glasses effect, right?
It is.
And the tragedy is, while we're busy falling in love with the fantasy, we often miss the reality of the patterns forming right in front of us.
That is where the danger lies. We tend to think toxic relationships start with a storm. A big fight, a betrayal. But the research we've pulled for today suggests otherwise. They rarely start with a storm. They start with heat wave.
They start with intensity.
Exactly.
So that is our mission for this deep dive. I've got a stack of sources here. We're talking psychological journals, behavioral analysis reports, and relationship counseling case studies. And we're going to peel off those rose-colored glasses.
Okay.
We aren't just giving you a checklist of do's and don'ts.
Okay.
We want to unpack the architecture of a red flag. We want to help you learn to read the weather of a relationship.
To feel the shift in atmospheric pressure before the hurricane actually hits. I like that. And that metaphor is apt, because if you can spot these behavioral patterns early, when the stakes are low, you save yourself years of heartache. You preserve your agency.
This isn't just about avoiding a bad second date.
No, it's about preventing a slide into a situation that could become genuinely dangerous.
So let's unpack this. We're going to start with that heat wave I mentioned, the rush. Because, ironically, the first massive red flag often looks like the ultimate romantic gesture.
We are talking about the concept of the tsunami of affection, or as it is more commonly known in the psychological literature,
Love bombing.
love bombing.
It's become such a buzzword on social media lately, but looking at the source material, it's a lot more nuanced than just someone being nice to you. But it feels amazing at first, doesn't it?
Of course it does. That is the design. Imagine you meet someone and almost immediately everything is perfect.
Too perfect.
Too perfect. They aren't just interested, they are obsessed. They are attentive, they are generous, they make you feel like you are the only person on earth who matters.
It's the whirlwind romance. It's the partner who is texting you, "Good morning, beautiful," before you're even awake, checking in 10 times a day.
Sending flowers to your office on the third date.
Right. And I think for a lot of us, especially if we've been in the dating trenches for a while, that feels like relief.
Yeah.
Finally, someone who isn't playing games.
That's the hook. But we have to look at the volume and the velocity. The red flag here isn't the affection itself. It's the intensity that doesn't match the timeline.
Okay, let's drill down on that concept. Intensity that doesn't match the timeline. Because I'll play devil's advocate here. Some people do just click instantly, right?
I do.
So how do you tell the difference between a soulmate connection and a love bomber?
That's the million-dollar question. The key differentiator found in the research is boundaries and pacing.
Boundaries and pacing.
Right. If you have known someone for 3 weeks and they are professing deep, undying love or claiming you are their soulmate or planning your wedding, that is not just romantic enthusiasm.
It's a boundary violation.
It is. It's like they're skipping steps. They're trying to build the roof of the house before they've even poured the foundation.
That's a great way to put it.
Love bombing is often a form of emotional manipulation, whether it's conscious or unconscious. It's moving too quickly with a specific intent to hook the partner, to create a dependency on that praise and affection.
Like a sugar rush.
Exactly. It spikes your dopamine levels so high that anything normal afterwards feels boring.
And the crash is inevitable. But while you're in it, it's hard to see it as sinister. You just think, wow, finally someone who appreciates me.
You've hit the nail on the head. It fills a void. I read that it often works because it targets our deepest insecurities. If we secretly fear we aren't lovable, a love bomber feels like the cure.
Yeah.
But here's the distinction you need to make. Healthy love breathes. It grows. It takes time to actually know someone.
To know how they take their coffee, how they handle stress.
Exactly, what they fear. Love bombing smothers that process. It replaces getting to know you with overwhelming you.
It's that feeling of being swept away by a current that is too strong to swim against. Like you check your phone and there are 15 unread messages and you feel a tiny knot in your stomach. Not butterflies anxiety.
Yes, trust that knot. That knot is your intuition telling you that your boundaries are being overrun. If it feels like too much too soon, it almost certainly is.
And this creates a perfect segue into the next red flag, doesn't it? Because love bombing rarely travels alone.
No, it usually brings a companion. The pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker? This is about rushing commitment, right? I feel like I see this all the time.
It happens constantly, and they work in tandem. The partner idealizes you, puts you on this pedestal during the love bombing phase, and then leverages that intense emotion to demand a lock-in.
So this is the person pushing for milestones. Way ahead of schedule. Let's move in together.
You have to meet my parents this weekend.
Why haven't you introduced me to your family yet? It's barely been a month.
Or the big one.
Mm.
Saying I love you very early and then waiting with palpable intensity for you to say it back immediately.
Oof. That silence, that pressure, it stops being an expression of feeling and starts being a transaction.
It's a transaction. I gave you this, now you owe me that.
Exactly.
It creates a sense of obligation. And that is the trap. You need to understand that you never, ever owe someone a commitment. Not because they bought you dinner, not because they sent you flowers.
And not because they said, I love you.
Precisely.
But it's so hard in the moment. You don't want to be the bad guys. You don't want to reject this perfect love. I think a lot of us have a hard time disappointing people.
And these types of partners weaponize that. They absolutely rely on your politeness. They bank on your desire to be a good partner.
So what's the mechanism?
The behavioral analysis shows they rush the commitment so that when the mask slips, and it always slips, you are already legally, financially, or emotionally bound to them.
It's the sunk cost fallacy in action, isn't it?
Spot on. If you've already moved in or merged finances or introduced them to your kids, it is infinitely harder to leave when the red flags start waving.
So if love bombing is the hook,
Then the rushing of commitment is the line. They reel you in before you've actually had time to see who they really are. You're committing to a fantasy and not a person.
okay, so that's the loud stuff, the fireworks, the grand gestures, the rush. But let's shift gears, because looking through these case studies, not all red flags are loud.
No.
Some of them are quiet, some of them are whisper soft.
The silent architects of control. These are often the most dangerous because they are the hardest to explain to your friends.
Right. Let's talk about the velvet cage. This is where we get into subtle coercion, and I think this is where people really get tripped up, because it doesn't look like control. It looks like care.
This is the altruistic mask. And it is incredibly effective. Controlling behavior in the early stages of a relationship rarely looks like someone shouting orders.
No, it looks like worry. It looks like protection.
Right.
So give us a scenario. Paint the picture for us. What does this look like on a random Tuesday night?
Okay. Imagine you are going out to meet a colleague for a drink. Your partner asks, where are you going? Who are you going to be with? When will you be back?
Sounds normal-ish. I mean, my mom asks me that.
In isolation? Maybe. But then add this layer. Text me when you get there so I know you're safe.
Okay.
Why don't you share your location with me just in case something happens? Send me a picture of who you're with so I can see the vibe.
Yeah, it starts to feel less like interest and more like a surveillance state.
But the twist is the justification. They don't say, I don't trust you. They say, I'm just concerned for your safety. I just worry about you because I love you so much.
That is diabolical, because if you push back, if you say, hey, stop tracking me, suddenly you are the reckless one.
Exactly. You are the one who doesn't value their love.
It forces you into a defensive position.
It does. It makes the victim question their own judgment. But let's look at the reality of the behavior. This isn't about safety. This is about tracking activity. It stems from a need to be in control of the environment all the time.
So the red flag here is the requirement.
Yes. If a partner requires you to inform them of your every move, or feels the need to accompany you everywhere you go, under the guise of keeping you company, that is a precursor to coercive control.
They're shrinking your world so they can monitor it.
Yes. And speaking of shrinking worlds, that brings us to the next major warning sign in our stack. The island.
Isolation. One of the most dangerous tools in the toolkit.
Absolutely. This is when they start chipping away at your support system, right? Your friends, your family.
But again, reading through these accounts, it's rarely a direct demand like, stop seeing your mom.
No, direct demands create resistance. This is much more insidious. It's the heavy sigh when you mention you're going out with friends.
It's the subtle comment like, I just don't think Sarah has your best interests at heart.
Or, your family is so critical of you, I hate seeing you upset after you visit them.
Or the guilt trip. I just wanted to spend tonight with you. I guess your friends are more important than me.
That is the classic narrative. They position themselves as the victim. The goal is to make you feel guilty for nurturing any connection that isn't them.
And they try to convince you that you're too good for your friends, which is flattering in a weird, twisted way.
It feeds the ego while starving the soul.
That's a great line.
It flatters the ego while severing the lifeline. Because here is the truth and why this mechanism is so vital for a toxic partner. Your friends and family are your reality check.
They're your board of directors.
They are. They are the ones who will say, hey, why does he text you 50 times an hour? Or she shouldn't be speaking to you like that.
So by removing them, the partner removes the mirror.
Exactly. If they can isolate you on the island, their version of reality becomes the only version of reality. There's no one left to challenge the narrative.
And this leads to a psychological concept, perspecticide.
The death of your perspective.
Yeah.
You start to see the world entirely through their eyes.
Which leads us directly into the foggy, confusing world of our next point. We've talked about the rush, the control, the isolation. Now let's talk about the conflict.
The minefield.
Yeah, because eventually the weather turns. This is the minefield.
This is about hypersensitivity and the distortion of reality.
You know that feeling when you're walking through a room and you're trying not to make a sound because you don't know what might set something off?
Walking on eggshells.
Walking on eggshells. I think almost everyone has felt that at some point, maybe even with a parent or a boss.
That is the somatic marker, the body's signal of this red flag. In a toxic dynamic, the partner is often hypersensitive. They are easily triggered by innocuous comments, harmless jokes.
Simple differences of opinion.
Yeah.
So you make a joke, a light teasing comment, and suddenly the mood just drops. The temperature in the room plunges.
Or it explodes. They take an unrelated comment as a personal attack, and this is where the narrative shift happens. Let's say you disagree with them about a restaurant choice. You say, I'm not really feeling Italian tonight. Instead of it being a preference, they twist it.
No.
They claim you are disrespecting their effort or that you're always difficult.
Whoa, that's a huge leap from I don't like pasta right now to you don't respect me as a human being.
It is a massive leap, but it serves a strategic purpose. It makes you afraid to speak freely. You start editing yourself.
You start pre-approving your own thoughts to ensure they won't trigger a meltdown.
Yes. And that's the minefield. You stop moving. You stop speaking. You just freeze.
I was reading about the cortisol levels in people who live like this. It keeps your body in a permanent state of fight or flight.
It does. And that is the ultimate form of control. When you begin to feel you cannot express an opinion without fear of an explosion, the relationship has become a dictatorship.
The democracy of two has ended.
Right.
It's scary how these things link together. The love bombing hooks you so you care about their opinion. The isolation removes the people who would tell you you're not crazy.
And then the hypersensitivity trains you to be silent. It is a system.
Yeah.
That is why we call it the architecture. It is built brick by brick to keep you in place.
So we've laid out the blueprint. We've seen the tsunami, the velvet cage, the minefield. And honestly, it's heavy stuff.
It is.
It's heavy because we've all felt glimmers of this. Maybe not the full-blown toxicity, but the edges of it.
And that is why this conversation matters. Because knowledge is the antidote to that confusion. You can't fight what you can't see.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe you just started seeing a new person and got a text that felt a little off. Or maybe you're looking back on a past relationship and going, oh my God, that's what that was.
It means you have to stop intellectualizing your instincts away. We are so good at talking ourselves out of our feelings. We say, oh, I'm just being paranoid, or they're just intense because they've been hurt before.
We gaslight ourselves before they even get the chance to.
That's a powerful realization. But your body knows. That too much feeling, that desire to physically pull away when they lean in too hard, that guilt you feel for seeing your friends.
Yeah.
Those aren't just random emotions, they are data points.
Data points. I like that. They are information.
We are the weather report.
Yeah.
And if you see these patterns, the rushing, the isolation, the hypersensitivity, You need to understand that you are not obligated to stay and fix it.
You're not obligated to see if it gets better.
No. That's a really critical point to land on, the idea of obligation.
Yeah.
Because the pressure cooker creates that debt.
I did this for you, so you must stay.
But you have agency. A true bond, a healthy bond, does not require the sacrifice of your freedom, your friends, or your reality. It shouldn't feel like a job you can't quit.
It should add to your life, not subtract from it. It should make your world bigger, not shrink it down to the size of one person's ego.
You've summarized it perfectly.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on today. We talked a lot about the partner's behavior, but I want to turn the camera back on you for a second.
Ask yourself this simple but revealing question. In this relationship or this new flirtation, are you acting out of desire or are you acting out of obligation?
Do you text back because you want to talk to them? Or because you're afraid of the passive-aggressive comment if you don't? Do you say, I love you, because your heart is full, or because the silence is terrifying?
The answer to that question, desire versus obligation, is usually the only compass you need.
Trust your intuition. It's been evolving for millions of years. It's smarter than you think. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Stay safe out there.
Catch you next time.